Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name's Oliver. So for today's video, we have an episode recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10, Episode 4. It starts off, they're still on the bus, they're on the way to Preakness. They finally get there, and whenever they do, I think Kay gives them money to like gamble, like bet on the horses and stuff, so she's teaching the girls how to do that. Wendy and Giselle are talking about how Angel said that she didn't graduate from Temple University. I don't know if she didn't graduate or if she just didn't leave. I'm very kind of confused on that. I'm very confused on that. Also, some man approached Ashley and is like, you want a date? And so Stacey is like inquisitive about Ashley, and then is especially inquisitive about Giselle's romantic life. And they're like, why are you asking? And Stacey's like, you know, just wondering. You know, it's because she told Jazzy that Giselle has a man and whatnot, in which we'll get into that at the end of the episode. Then Angel said that she was a friend for Giselle, and both Stacey and Wendy were like, oh, is he chocolate? Like at the same time. I love Stacey and Wendy together like this. It's just funny to me. Then Ashley is like, Tia, did you have an issue with me because I didn't invite the entire group to hang out? And Tia was like, well, it was just tongue-in-cheek because you invited like people to hang out in front of other people that you did not invite. And so Ashley's like, no, you shaded me. And then Tia was like, no, it's tongue-in-cheek, keep up. Then Tia said, Ashley, I've apologized, I don't know what you're struggling with. Then Tia said, you know, Ashley, I do have an issue with you because whenever I met Ashley, she said that you would fancy me and you haven't yet. Just kind of being funny. Then Jazzy arrives, and so Jazzy's just talking about how she's getting married. I also wrote here that Angel low-key tried to shade her man Darius because of what she said about his position in football. She said he was like, what, a 10-year starter? I'm like, oh. Interesting. But yeah, Wendy caught that shade. Then they go outside to watch the races, and then Ashley goes up to Kay and is like, so Kay, are you good with Jazzy? And then Kay was like, well, I heard she was talking about me. And then they asked Jazzy to come over, and then Kay's like, well, Wendy told me that Stacey and Jazzy had an issue with me. And then Wendy is like, hold on, the first lady's here, keep it classy for 1 minute. And then they go talk to the first lady, who did not want to be on TV. This is the first lady of Maryland, not the US. And then the first lady leaves, and Wendy said that she was on the phone with Jazzy, and Jazzy was like, you know, Kay's gonna be at the NAACP Awards, and Jazzy is like, I don't know. And then Jazzy's like, Wendy, you being messy. And then Kay was like, Jazzy, you know you don't have to lie, you know. Then Jazzy said, listen, Kay, I know you're going through a lot with Greg. And then it kind of gagged Kay for a minute, but then Kay was like, I get it, you're going through a lot because you married a man that had 2 kids on you. Okay, moving on. They're packing up to go to Nevis. They get to the airport at 4 a.m. and Giselle also invited Jazzy to the trip. And then they land in Nevis, and it takes Jazzy like 30 minutes to get off the plane since she was in the back. She was like, she said, you know what, I don't mind that I'm sitting in economy because the champagne tastes the same in the back. I know that's right. Exactly. But also it's probably because she got like, it was like a last minute thing. Like Giselle invited her later. So yeah, get to Nevis, and they all are in the yacht lounge because they're taking a boat from St. Kitts to Nevis. Because, you know, in St. Kitts, the airport's only in St. Kitts. You know, they take the boat to Nevis, even though it's the same country. So yeah, and then Angel almost isn't let into the country because she has a camo backpack, and it's illegal to have camo in Nevis. Like, you should have just checked that out. But Tia actually had an extra suitcase just in case she gets things or buys stuff. So they just put her backpack in her suitcase so that she doesn't get kicked out of the country. Then Wendy randomly asks Stacey if she sucks balls. And then they finally get onto the yacht. And so whenever they're on the yacht, they're sitting down. So then Giselle's like, Jazzy, I'm so glad you're here because some girls like Kay and Angel didn't want you to be here. And then Kay's like, well, I just don't like to be phony and fake. Then Jazzy's like, okay, well, say what you have to say about Wendy. If you don't want to be phony and fake, just say it. Jazzy doesn't say what it is. But then Wendy's like, okay, Kay, if you're talking about me, I would be very, very hurt. And then Jazzy's like, ho's mad. And then Kay's like, you're the hoe because you were the side chick. And then Jazzy's like, okay, but I'm a fiance and that's something you'll never be. A lot's going on here because then Wendy's like, Angel, you're a bit shady to Jazzy. And Angel's like, no, that wasn't a dig. And then Stacey's like, Angel, do you have it in your heart to have relationships with other people who may not enjoy Kay? And then Angel's like, you guys will get to know me. And everyone's like, okay. And then they go upstairs on the boat except for Angel and Kay for now. And they're dancing, having fun. Stacey's trying to twerk. The key word is trying. And then they get to the Four Seasons, and it's very much White Lotus. Like, the staff greets them, like, waving and whatnot. I've been to where they are right now. Like, it's very nice. So yeah, Ashley, Giselle, and Tia are staying in Giselle's villa, and Wendy, Stacey, and Jazzy are in another, and then Angel and Kay are in another. And then Giselle has handwritten notes and monogram rows for every single person there except for Stacey. She has a card there that's blank. And then in her robe that's not monogrammed, it's like a size large. So, like, why did you do that? Angel and Kay were talking about how no one greeted Angel at the airport, but then production literally rolled footage of Giselle and Ashley greeting her at the airport, so it's, like, very weird. Then Tia's talking to her kids on the phone because it's her daughter Alexis's birthday, and then she's talking to her 11-year-old son, Daniel, who said that he wants to be adopted, mainly because of, like, his siblings. You know how siblings can be. I don't because I'm an only child, but I know how siblings can be. Yeah, then everyone gets ready for dinner, and Stacey asked Kay if she can grab her back together just because she was curious, and then Wendy said it doesn't seem like Angel's excited to be around the group, and then Angel said she has a hard time being the person that reaches out to someone new. Then Giselle is like, okay, so Angel, what's up with you in these pictures? And then Angel says it's not filtered. And then the thing is, production's showing all of these pictures of Angel that are filtered, like very much filtered. But yeah, then Angel said that the pic was super duper her, and then production rolls more footage of pics with all of these filters. And then Angel said that there are girls at the table who have undergone surgical procedures to look like a permanent Instagram filter. And then Kay's trying to defend her, and then Wendy's like, okay, well, it's now been peeped that you come at me a certain way. And then Wendy is literally giving them examples of when Angel has come at Wendy a certain way, but not anybody else. And then Wendy is like, Giselle, you had no monogram robe and no letter for Stacey. And Giselle's like, yeah, because I don't know who Stacey is. And then Stacey's like, why do I always have to be accountable for me and myself? And why do we want to talk about my relationship? Let's talk about yours, Giselle. Then she's like, his name is Sean and he's in the NFL. And Jazzy's like, come on, wag. And then Giselle's like, that's not my boyfriend, that's just a date. And then Ashley's like, well, who here has all been on a date with an NFL player? Raise your hand. And Stacey doesn't raise her hand. And Ashley's like, Stacey, you haven't been on a date with an NFL player? And then Ashley's like, well, many of the girls, then Stacey's like, well, you've been trying to get in contact with someone. Many of the girls have met him. Y'all should know him. And he was a former player on the Redskins. And then Wendy and Jazzy are like, was it Chris Samuels? And then it says to be continued. So that's pretty much the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did making it. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.